In a recent survey of over 5,000 people, 90% of respondents believe that they are not being rewarded for their loyalty to their current energy provider. Yet over 41% of people have stayed with the same provider for more than 3 years. Joining me now to discuss this is Simon Moynihan from bonkers.ie and Lachlan Harris, co-founder of the One Big Switch campaign. You're both very welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Lachlan, welcome back, and Simon, welcome for the first time. Now, Simon, we've been talking about this a lot recently on the show, the fact that the Irish continually say, oh, we're not getting value for money, oh, but I'm not going to switch. What is wrong with us that we won't actively look at switching? We are getting better, but we're still very stuck in our ways. Why is that?
I think we're afraid.
What are we afraid of?
We're afraid of the process. We're afraid that it'll be difficult. We're afraid we'll get cut off. We're afraid something will happen that we won't be able to control. And in fact, it's very easy. And the savings are huge. The savings are huge. And for people at home who maybe are going, OK, yeah, I am a bit afraid, can you allay their fears? I'll come to Lachlan, who will tell you just how easy it is. But, you know, there really isn't anything to fear, is there? Not at all, no. I mean, you will not get cut off. You can switch in 5 minutes online. You can switch using a service like ours, like Lachlan's. So really, there's nothing to be afraid of. In general, we don't ask for any particularly difficult information. And for a household with gas and electricity, you can save over €300.
We are very loyal to our providers, not because they reward us, though, because we know from your survey, well, from the survey, that we don't feel like we're being rewarded. So that loyalty is utterly misplaced. And at the same time, we're saying we're not being rewarded.
Well, if you switch, you'll save for a year, usually, and then you'll pay what they call standard rates, and those are expensive. Unfortunately, the way the system is set up, you need to switch again, or at least you need to look around and ask your provider for a better deal a second time round.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. I think a lot of people think if I stick, I'm going to get rewarded, I'm a good loyal customer, and in fact what happens is the opposite. The longer you stay there, generally the more you pay, and it's a ridiculous kind of, it's a conundrum in the energy system. And I think a lot of people, because it used to be a government monopoly, they think, you know, you were used to, for years and years and years, you just paid, there was no reward for switching. Now the absolute opposite is true. If you switch, you will save. If you don't, you're almost definitely paying more than you need to.
So you're actively losing money by not switching.
Yeah, it's a crazy system. And any other business, I mean, you can imagine...
It's a total no-brainer, actually.
Yeah, but
why
also...
Why are we so slow in getting on board with it?
I just think it's because all around the world it's very, very similar. I think it's because we were used to these things being government monopolies. For years and years and years, your electricity bill was kind of, you know, death and taxes just happened. There was nothing you could do about it. All of a sudden now there is something you can do about it, whether you go to onebigswitch.ie or go to Bonkers, just do something. That's the message we've really got to push through to consumers here. Do something.
Tell us how One Big Switch works, just in case there's anyone in the country who isn't familiar with it. I'm sure everyone is, but just remind me.
Anyone who's not familiar, give me their names. I will go out and visit them today.
But it is a really simple, and again, it's a no-brainer of a concept.
It's a really, really simple idea. What we try and do is use the group buying power to kind of unlock a group discount here in Ireland on energy. So if people want to join, it's really, really simple. You go to onebigswitch.ie, you register, it's 100% free to join. We then use their buying power basically to negotiate a discount, and then we release that discount, email it to you, and you decide if it's right for you. And I'd actively urge people, whether it's everyone should have that discount, then use it. If it's right for them, use it. Check it out against what's on you know, use Simon's services, use other people's services. What we're trying to do is invigorate the market, because the biggest challenge really is, we call it shaking people out of the apathy tree. There's 50% of people in the market here who have never switched. They are paying a couple of hundred extra euros. So 1 in 2 people have never switched. Yeah, it's a real challenge, and I think the government knows it's a challenge. People like Simon is working on it, I'm working on it. We just have to say to people, don't sit on the couch, do something about this. You can save a couple of €100 today. Come to onebigswitch.ie or any of the other services and try and save money.
Simon, have you seen the numbers increasing in people who are visiting your site? I mean, we are getting better at this. We are shaking ourselves out of the apathy tree.
What we're seeing, interestingly, is more people are switching, or there are more switches taking place. But what's actually happening, I think, is the same people are continuing to... The message has gotten through to about 45% of the Irish population. The other 55% are staying put. They haven't done anything since deregulation.
Do you think there's a generational issue?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, okay,
there is. There's certainly a generational issue, although you'd be very surprised at how savvy many of our retired people actually
are. Silver surfers.
Absolutely, yeah. So they're very clued in, they're very online, they're very conscious of a bargain and a discount. So we speak to a lot of them a lot of the time, and they're very, very conscious of saving money.
And I think there's a couple of really big myths that need to be busted. The first one is you don't need to cancel with your current provider. I think a lot of people are worried about ringing up. They feel that might be uncomfortable. The second thing is it's the same electricity down the same poles and wires, and if there's a blackout, the same person comes and knocks on your door and fixes it.
You're just getting it cheaper.
Exactly
okay.
right.
Well, that's exactly it.
OneBigSwitch.ie and bonkers.ie. Guys, thank you very much. Simon, thank you. And Lachlan, thank you as always.